Okay, so let's get the show on the road. To to be able to beat your competition, you need to take into account few of the most important metrics. And these metrics are basically conversions, conversion rate, cost per conversion, return on ad spend, which is the ROAS, and the last one, which is this one, the customer lifetime value. Everybody, I would say 90% of professionals, business owners, marketeers focus on these four metrics. These are important, no doubt, but one of the most important one is this one. This is a game changer. If you know your customer lifetime value, if you know how to calculate this, you will sit back in your chair and you'll say to yourself, oh my God, I've been running the ads completely the wrong way. That is why I cannot outrank, outbid, and outsmart my competitors, is because of this one little metric. Well, it's not quite little, because this is, in my humble opinion, one of the most important metrics. And when we do get new clients and we ask them, do you know your customer lifetime value? More often than not, they don't know. They say, well, they'll take a guess. They won't have a scientific answer or an accurate answer. They'll just make up a number or try to give me a number. That doesn't work. It will never work. If you're trying to kid yourself, you are going to lose a lot of money, waste a lot of money, and you'll be wasting your time. So it's fine if you don't know your customer lifetime value. I'm not trying to embarrass anyone. You shouldn't feel ashamed that, oh my God, I don't know. Lots of things people don't know, and then we learn as we go along. So if you were to take something away from today's session, then I would say look at this metric, which is the customer lifetime value. I'm going to show you why it is so important. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, I'm gonna go to the next page. So first we start with lead generation, and then I'm going to move on to e-commerce as well, because there are two different metrics, right? I'm going to go after the cost per acquisition. So let's say you're generating leads. And you got, let's say, 10 leads at, I'm going to keep it dollars per lead, right? Or one lead, we can say. It costs you $10 to get a lead, which is fine. Then we have every three leads converts into a client. So we have our lead to client conversion rate. So there will be two conversion rates over here. One would be, you can say 1 out of 10 leads convert, then you'll have a 10% conversion rate. And then it costs you $10 per lead, right? So you need to look at two. Then you go lead per conversion rate. And let's say every three leads convert into a sale or into a client. $30 to acquire one client or customer. Fairly straightforward so far. Every time we get a client, I should say the first order, let's say. First order, first average order equals to, we'll just put in $50. So it cost us 30 and we earned 50, right? So I'm going to put in gross profit. 50 minus 30 equals to $20. Now, this does not include any other costs for producing that order, right? Now, I'm looking at over here right now on a service-based business. You may not have a cost of goods directly, but if you did have a cost of goods, then obviously we're not taking that into account yet. But let's say this is our profit. Now, we bring into the customer lifetime value. So your margins are fairly thin over here. Let's bring in customer lifetime value and see how this changes. So you look at your database or in your accounting software or app, and then you see that every time I get a new client, they order 4 times within 12 months. So our average order value is 50. 50 times 4. 200 minus, now your acquisition cost doesn't change, right? That is the same. You have already acquired the customer on the first order. The second, third, and fourth, you don't pay Google or Facebook or any other traffic channel to acquire that client. Now, all of a sudden, you have jumped from making just $20 to $170. And that is the difference. Now you can bid more aggressively. Now what you can say to yourself or to your marketing team that, look, we can bid more aggressively. We can be a lot more bolder. We can bid more and outrank everybody, because although our cost will increase a bit, we are still very profitable, because we know that every time we get a client, we earn $170 on average. Very few people look at the customer lifetime value. You have got to bring this into the equation if you are running ads. You just cannot run on these 4 metrics. That's where you go wrong. And the other thing which you don't want to be working on is just that first order and look at this number and said, well, we're not making any profit. Because if you were to just break even, let's say your cost was over here 50 and you've broken even, then at least the Google cost is not coming out of your pocket. You can then scale it. And this is how companies scale their campaigns, is by able to use the money or the funds they receive from these clients and orders and invest it back into Google and then keep on reinvesting. It's repeat and rinse. That's what you want to be doing, is this. So if you are taking on new clients, so we very rarely take on new clients now if they don't know the average customer value, customer lifetime value, because first of all, they will need a fair amount of educating. And secondly, if they don't look after their numbers, then we are going to have a hard time working together, because we as an agency don't don't hide anywhere except show the numbers. We tell them whether it is black and white or red and white. If it is making a loss, obviously it's going to be red. If it's making a profit, it's going to be black. So the numbers is all you should care about and all we care about. So that's what you want to be doing, the customer lifetime value. Let me bring in my spreadsheet for an e-commerce business. I'm just going to move this along so you guys can see it properly. Okay, I think you should be able to see it. I'll just make sure. Yeah. Okay. Now, this is on how we can work out what is a good return on ad spend and how much we can afford to bid. So there are always two types of campaigns. One is for branded campaigns and one is going to be non-branded campaigns, right? This is a very straightforward spreadsheet. You guys can make it. So please don't ask for this template because I don't have it somewhere online where I can send you the link. But it's fairly straightforward. You can screenshot this or you can watch this video again. First cell is average conversion value. That's the order value, right? Desired ROAS. What are we looking for? What should be the goal for the return on ad spend? And what's the conversion rate? So you go into your account, Google Ads account, and see, or your sales invoicing account, what's the average conversion value? Every time you get an order, how much they spend. So we put in 3 columns. We are working on 200%, 150%, and 100% to see how the numbers stack up. So that is these 3. In fact, average order value will stay the same, right? Then you look at your conversion rate and go into your account again, enter your conversion rate, whatever it may be. Then you put in your desired ROAS. So which is that one, 200%, 150, and 100, 3 columns, right? Then the max CPC is, the equation is that B3 divide that by B4. So the B3 is 150, divide that by B4 times B5. And that is the maximum profitable CPC you can afford to bid on. So if you look into your account and you see 9, 10 or whatever, you may not be profitable because this will give you the calculations what you need. Or if it's at $9 you're bidding or you're paying, you won't get the 200% ROAS. 1.5 is 9.68. 100% ROAS is 14.52. Now, why I'm showing you this is what I've just taught you. The customer lifetime value. If you were to bid on the customer lifetime value and say, look, even if I break even on my ad cost and my cost of goods are taken care of, I can bid more aggressively because I get another 3 orders or 4 orders afterwards every time on average from every customer. That's how you would work out your maximum CPC bid. For non-brand campaigns, again, you do the same, exactly the same thing. Now, how, you may ask me, how do I work out which campaign is which. First of all, this is why the account structure is so important. You've got to structure the branded campaigns separately, or the branded keywords separately from the non-branded. So we always have branded campaigns running on their own, and branded campaigns should never, ever, ever run out of budget or limited by budget. Because somebody's going to Google, typed in your brand name or your product name. They know who they are looking for, and you must always bid on your brand. Don't think and don't say to me, oh, well, I'll get the first position on my organic. Why should I pay Google for my branded? If you don't bid on your brand, I'm going to bid on your brand and take that top spot on Google. So just to stop your competitors from being above your name is worth the price. And branded keywords are not very expensive either. They are pennies. They're not like $100, $50 clicks. They will be in pennies, and you'll be able to run unless and until you are a very big brand. That's a different matter, because the whole world will be bidding on them. But for small to medium-sized businesses, it is absolutely critical. And you also need to educate your client. Look, we've got to bid on our brand. There's no way we shouldn't be skipping this. And the same exercise, you do the same over here, right? Average conversion value you put in, desired ROAS, conversion value, and you will get that maximum CPC bid. So we've got all of that, right? Now, let's turn the tables around and change things around a bit. So instead of just average conversion value, which was 150, now we are taking into lifetime conversion value of 650. So we got 4 or 5 orders afterwards. The clients keep coming back. If they are not coming back to you, then that should tell you that there is something wrong with your business model, your product, your service. They don't like what they get. They don't like what you've got. So that is not Google's or Facebook's fault that they are not coming back. That should give you a red alert that there is something seriously wrong in our business. We got to fix it. So that's how you increase the customer lifetime value, because if you've got a client, we want to keep them for as long as possible. If we are performing, giving them a profitable return on ad spend, they'll stick around for more. If we don't, then they're going to go away. So let's do the same thing again. Instead of 150, we make it 650. ROAS, same 200%, 150 and 100. Conversion rate is the same as before, 9.68. And now look how much more you can afford to bid. 31.46. You are going to outrank, outbid, and outsmart your competition all day long, because they are working on these numbers. There is no way they'll be able to go up to here. And secondly, very few people know how to do this. So those of you who are watching this, I hope you get something new and something different which you've learned from the past, because this is how you beat your competition all day long. There is no way in the world I'll be outbid and I'll be outsmarted in Google Ads, because I'm playing a different game to all the amateurs. These are the boys over here. This is the game which the men play. So you got to separate yourself from the boys to the men. All right. And that's why customer lifetime value is critical for the success of any campaign. So we've got $31 for 200% ROAS, $62 for 100% ROAS. On the non-branded one, the same thing. Over here again, I think I made from $44.94 I had put in just to be different. I've doubled it up to 100. And you can play around with the numbers and show it to your client. Look, this is why we need this customer lifetime value. If your client doesn't know it, Go through this exercise, and then they will know that you are the right person they have picked to run the campaigns because you care about the business, not just running ads blindly, right? And without knowing what the end result is going to be. We predict the future, that look, if we do this, if we bid at this amount, or if we are paying Google. Now bidding, again, Google is taking away from us, right? Max conversions, target CPA, all these smart bidding. But at least you know your average cost per click. I can go up to 31.46 and I'll be profitable at these numbers. The other thing which I can then change around is that, okay, I want to make that to 12. Let's try and convert more on our sales process. That is nothing to do with Google Ads. Improve the website speed, increase and improve the landing page experience. So lots of things you can do to improve these numbers. How about we upsell a bit more and make that into 850? All these numbers work hand in hand, and you will never lose out. So I hope that makes sense, and you'll know now how to beat your competition all day long.